या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनिः.
Ya Nisha, what is night? Sarva Bhutanam, for all beings. Tasyam, in that night, Samyami, the one endowed with equipoise, the one whose mind is Samya. That person is Jagarti. Jagarti is awake. And Yasyam, in which Jagrati, in which the Bhutani, all the beings, are Jagrati, which means they are awake. In that night, Sanisha, that night, this Pashyato is accomplished person. This Pashyato, sage, the Muni is sage. This accomplished sage that is night for this person. So that which is night for all beings, in that night the steady one keeps awake, the one with equipoise. And where all beings are awake, that is the night for this sage. What does this mean? Is it really day and night? It means that night here implies what is not seen by Sarva Bhutanam. What is not seen? What is not seen is what you're ignorant towards. What is on the other side of the wall. Oftentimes, when you have experienced something, when let's say we have been to Paris, we know how Eiffel Tower looks, and we are talking about it to a person who has not seen it. The person is ignorant about it. So a person who is ignorant and keen to learn is eagerly listening to our description of the Eiffel Tower. But a person who is not seen it but thinks that you know, that person is trying to argue with the person who has seen it. So the people who are ignorant can either be willing to learn or be oblivious of their ignorance and lead life in a sense of argument against what is reality. So the term night implies ignorance. So among that ignorance, this person with equipoise is awake. He is awake to the realities when there is ignorance all around him. He is awake to the truth when there is ignorance all around him. And then what all beings are awake to, Jagrati, what all beings are awake to, implies all the elements that are connected to the senses. So we are all awake to what is connected to our senses. The Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, which is the sound, the touch, the vision, the taste, and the smell. So this is what we are all awake to. And to that, to which our minds get pulled away, to that the sage, though aware of all of it, and though he is able to use them as instruments, does not allow his mind intellect to be tingled by them. So awakening to the higher ensures that that sage, the person of accomplishment, the person of established wisdom, is neither attracted nor is she repulsed by the lower. So my favorite example, coming back again, Roger Federer or Rafael Nadal, okay? So when these greats, they are accomplished in their vocation. When these greats, the mind and intellect of Federer and Nadal, it is fine-tuned to what? Firstly, to the game of tennis. It is fine-tuned to the tournament that they are playing. So that is the higher ideal. When the mind is tuned and fine-tuned to the higher ideal, a bad shot does not depress Roger Federer. An excellent, beautiful winner does not, marvel. Rafael Nadal does not marvel at it. So neither are they carried away by mistakes, nor are they carried away by marvels. And when that happens, how does it help them? It helps them stay focused on the higher ideal. And that is the difference between the winner of the tournament and the guy who does not win. Even in the final, when Federer and Nadal are playing with each other, even at that time, the finer tuning is what creates the winner. So people who are sense-bound and are attached to the world of objects, they are wakeful to the mundane. But the Brahmagyani, the Brahmagyani is the person who knows, who is the knowledgeable about the Brahman. That Brahmagyani, one who has controlled the senses and masters the mind, for that person, the spectacle is different. For the ordinary guy, the weak, poor tennis shot will be like, oh man, I screwed up. Oh man, I made a mistake. Oh no, the second mistake? Why did I repeat my mistake? The third mistake. So each mistake leads to another mistake. But the master is oblivious of that mistake. Similarly, wow, I hit a great shot. The master is oblivious of that. For that person, for that Brahmagyani, that perception and the intuition is filled with divinity, is filled with fine-tuned to the higher ideal. In our day-to-day life, if we are a tennis player, the higher ideal is the game. And the highest ideal is God. Whatever is God for us. So 3 monks were in a river bank, across on the other side was their camp. And they said, let's meditate here. And they just about sat. And one of them said, oh, I forgot my mat. So let me go grab my mat and come back. And he walked across the river, walked on water, went, got his mat and came back. Walked on water and came back. The second one said, hey, I had put my clothes for drying. The sun is down now. It's going to go down. Let me just remove them and come back so that I can meditate without any distraction. He walks on water, crosses the river, walks on water, comes back and sits down again. Now this third monk is looking at the two and says, if these guys can walk on water, so can I. And then he goes and he says, hey, I also forgot something. Let me come back. Puts his foot in the water, bloop, goes into the water. Then he is unfazed though, comes back, tries again falls into the water. Third time, again and again. He tries every single time, he falls into the water. So one of his colleagues, the associates, the bigger monk, he tells the other monk, should we tell him where the stones are lined up or should we not? So this person who is missing out on the reality, why? Because if he can do it, so can I. The Ragadvesha. Had the person not been distracted by the Ragadvesha, it would have been very easy, simple to observe that the 2 monks who went before him were walking on stones.